Today's case begins in Belton, Missouri, a quiet town forever haunted by the disappearance of a teenage girl. For nearly 10 years, her story sat cold, unanswered, until another murder ripped open the truth. This is the story of Kara Kopetsky, a 17-year-old who vanished in 2007, leaving her family searching for answers for nearly a decade. And it is also the story of Jessica Runions, whose disappearance 10 years later finally forced the truth into the light and brought Kara home. Welcome back to Chilling Fireside Stories, where we dive into real cases, real victims, and real families forever changed by violence. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It truly helps me continue bringing these important stories to you. Now, settle in and let's begin. Kara Elise Kopetsky was born on February 17, 1990, to Rhonda Beckford and Michael Kopetsky. She grew up in Belton, Missouri, where she was known for her carefree spirit, contagious smile, and fierce loyalty to her family and friends. At the time of her disappearance, Kara was a junior at Belton High School and worked part-time as a cashier at Popeye's Chicken, balancing school with her job. She loved music, shopping, and animals, and she had a zest for life that drew people to her. Kara was especially close to her younger brother Thomas, and her family remembers her as playful, funny, and full of energy. In the spring of 2007, Kara Kopetsky was in the final days of her junior year at Belton High School. Like many teenagers, she was testing boundaries, skipping classes more often, spending time with friends her parents worried were bad influences, and sneaking cigarettes despite her mother's protests. At first, it was a battle between Kara and her mom, Rhonda. Packs of cigarettes were thrown away, rules were laid down, but Kara always found a way to get more. Eventually, Rhonda realized it wasn't a fight she could win. What mattered most was keeping her daughter safe and in school. Her husband, Jim, reassured her that this was just a phase, a typical teenage rebellion, and that Kara would grow out of it. And Kara did have dreams. She talked often about her future, about going to college locally, about the life she wanted to build. Those conversations gave her parents hope that beneath the teenage defiance, their daughter was still focused on something bigger. On May 4th, 2007, Rhonda offered Kara a ride to school, but Kara declined, saying she wanted to walk. Rhonda suspected that the real reason was that her daughter wanted time to sneak a cigarette before class. An hour later, Kara called her mom from school. She had forgotten a book she needed for class and asked Rhonda to bring it. She also admitted she'd forgotten to wash her work uniform and asked if Rhonda could clean it before her evening shift at Popeye's. It was the kind of everyday request that made the day feel ordinary, but it would be the last ordinary day the family ever had. Rhonda washed Kara's work uniform and dropped off a textbook at the school office before heading to her own job. She never actually saw her daughter inside the building that day. By mid-afternoon, Kara's stepfather, Jim, returned home from work expecting to see her getting ready for her 4 o'clock shift at Popeye's. But 3 o'clock came and went, and Kara hadn't arrived. Concerned, Jim called her phone. No answer. When Rhonda got home later, she was equally alarmed. Even if plans had changed, Kara would have sent a text. Silence from her was completely out of character. Jim wondered if maybe her phone had been confiscated at school, so he drove to the high school, but by then, the campus was empty. At 4 o'clock, with Kara still missing, he went to Popeye's, hoping she had found another way to get there. Instead, her manager asked where she was. Kara hadn't shown up for her shift. Jim waited at the restaurant, but by 4:20, it was clear she wasn't coming. Back home, Rhonda and Jim grew frantic. Kara had never missed work before. She loved the independence her job gave her, the freedom to shop and spend time with friends. The family mobilized. They drove around town, retracing her route between home and school, checking the skate park, talking to kids who might have seen her. Rhonda combed through the phone bill, calling every number Kara had dialed recently, but nothing. By 5 p.m., with no sign of their daughter, they called Belton police to report her missing. An officer came to their home. They tried to explain the situation, Kara's teenage rebellion, her smoking, the occasional clashes that came with growing up. They even mentioned a past incident. On her 16th birthday, after an argument about skipping school, Kara had stormed out and didn't return until the next morning. Back then, they had also involved the police. But this history now worked against them. Instead of treating the case with urgency, The officers seemed to view Kara's disappearance as just another runaway episode. Rhonda and Jim could feel it, the weight of doubt in the room, the subtle dismissal of their fears. Their daughter was missing, and already the system was brushing her aside. But the couple was adamant that this wasn't a runaway, that something was terribly wrong. They also explained that just 2 days earlier, Kara had filed a restraining order against her ex-boyfriend, trying to break free from a toxic, abusive relationship. By the morning of May 5th, Kara was still missing. Exactly 24 hours after their first report, Rhonda called police again, demanding immediate action. That's when they learned something troubling. Another friend had also reported Kara missing. But this friend claimed they hadn't seen her since May 2nd, 2 days earlier than when Rhonda and Jim last saw her. The conflicting timeline threw the investigation into chaos. Police began to question whether someone was lying. Why would Kara ask her mother to bring a textbook to school if she hadn't been there for days? And why hadn't this friend contacted her parents first? The friend admitted they were uncomfortable reaching out, even suggesting the parents themselves might be involved. Suddenly, Rhonda and Jim found themselves treated as suspects in their own daughter's disappearance. Jim, Kara's stepfather, felt the weight of suspicion pressing harder because he wasn't her biological parent. He cooperated fully, answering questions, taking a polygraph, insisting he had searched tirelessly and reported her missing within an hour of her absence. After exhaustive interrogation, he was cleared, but precious time had already been lost. The critical first 48 hours had slipped away. Frustrated but determined, the family pressed forward. Police canvassed neighborhoods, spoke with Kara's friends, and turned to the media for help. But just as her case began to gain attention, disaster struck elsewhere. That same weekend, a tornado ripped through Greensburg, Kansas, devastating the town and dominating headlines. Rescue and recovery efforts consumed the media's focus, and Kara's disappearance was pushed into the background. But one investigative journalist, named Russ Tachek, refused to let her story fade. He traveled to Belton determined to speak with Kara's family and shine a light on her case. At first, Kara's stepfather hesitated, worried about how outside involvement might affect the investigation. But Russ assured them his goal was simple: raise awareness, share Kara's story, and help bring her home. As Russ dug deeper, he discovered something chilling. Kara hadn't taken the things a runaway would, like her iPod, her charger, her clothes. Everything was left behind, so this couldn't be a voluntary runaway. Meanwhile, police turned their attention to Belton High School, and CCTV footage confirmed Kara was at school on May 4th. At 9:30 a.m., she walked into a bathroom, emerged a few minutes later, and exchanged a quick word with another student in the hallway, and then left through an outside door. Witnesses said she mentioned ditching class, even asked if anyone wanted to join her, but no one did. And no one knew where she went. Her parents, desperate for answers, reminded detectives of the dangerous ex-boyfriend they had already warned them about, Kyler Yost. He was the rebellious dropout, the bad influence they resented. And just days before Kara vanished, she had filed for an order of protection against him. The court documents were damning. Kara alleged that on April 28th, Kyler Yost had abducted her outside her workplace, restrained her, choked her, and threatened her with a knife. She wrote, "I'm unsure what he will do next, because the abuse has gotten worse over time." But the order was never served. 3 days later, Kara was gone. And yet when police brought Kyler Yost in for questioning, he passed a polygraph. He even provided an alibi, and despite everything, he walked away.
I was a suspect because of prior happenings, not because of anything that would point to me having anything to do with her disappearing now.
I think you've been very cooperative.
I have been, because I don't know anything about where she is or about what happened. I wish I did.
Did you threaten to slit her throat?
No. Didn't.
What happened?
That didn't happen that night. That was before.
Kyler Yost told police the last time he saw Kara was May 3rd, the day before she vanished. He claimed that on May 4th, he was at his aunt's nursing home all day. He even said Kara had called him around 11 a.m., but when he tried to call her back, she didn't answer. But phone records told a different story. Kara had actually called Kyler at 9:13 a.m., just minutes before she was seen leaving Belton High School on camera. Kyler called her back at 9:20, 1 minute after she walked out the door. When confronted with the lie, he stuck to his story. With no physical evidence and the possibility of an alibi, police had no choice but to release him. Weeks turned into months. Leads fizzled out, posters went up across town, but every tip brought investigators back to square one. Years passed and detectives remained focused on Kyler, but a glaring oversight haunted the case. No one had ever verified his nursing home alibi. No sign in records, no surveillance footage, no witnesses. It was simply accepted. By the time new detectives revisited the case, 3 years had gone by and the trail was cold.
We'll be bringing you updates throughout this newscast. Now, right now, Rhonda Beckford, Kara's mother. Rhonda, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Russ.
I've known you now about 3 years, and I've been with you several times as you've had to wait for word on what police are searching for. And I thank you for joining us. And I'm wondering if you can tell us what you know so far.
Next month will be 3 years that Kara's been missing, and I'm just glad that they haven't given up and they're still out there trying to find her.
Then another year passed and still no answers.
It's kind of like a roller coaster. You know, it's got its ups and its downs, and you know, we've had 8 searches.
Her daughter, Kara Kopetsky, disappeared 4 years ago. Despite the extensive searches and dozens of tips, still no clue as to where Kara may be. Today in Belton, dozens of people walked to help drum up more tips for Kara's case.
It's amazing to have, you know, all these people still show up 4 years later. They're still hoping and searching right along.
Nearly a decade slipped away. Kara's family lived with unanswered questions, the weight of her absence pressing heavier with each year. Between 2010 and 2016, multiple people had come forward claiming Kyler Yost had admitted to killing someone years earlier, and the name he spoke was always the same, Kara Kopetsky. In 2010, a former roommate told police that Kyler Yost had confided in him about Kara, saying she didn't love him back and that his anger had led to something terrible. Another friend recalled Kyler drunkenly confessing at a party, saying he killed Kara because she didn't love him and he didn't want anyone else to have her. In 2011, yet another breakthrough came. One of Kyler Yost's girlfriends, 6 months pregnant at the time, filed a protection order against him. She bravely told investigators that he had confessed to choking a previous girlfriend and leaving her body in the woods. She also described his violent behavior toward her, including threats to her own life. In her statement, she described a terrifying pattern of abuse. He had choked her repeatedly, then punched her to keep her from passing out, and she said he had killed her 3 cats. The FBI wired her up, hoping to capture his words on tape, and they did. Hidden camera footage recorded Kyler speaking casually, unaware of the fact that his words were being recorded. He even sat with her, making a Ouija board, attempting to contact Kara's spirit, which shows his obsession and his guilt.
Just felt her hand on my shoulder, and I heard she didn't say anything. It was just like her voice. I promise I will come back and see you, Kara. Because I killed her and left her out in the wilderness alone. For her spirit just to roam the forest.
He was placed on probation for 2 years and also charged with animal cruelty. But his criminal record didn't stop there. Soon after, he was arrested for stealing tattoo supplies, cited for multiple traffic violations, and eventually charged with drug trafficking.
Reports led to today's guilty plea for choking and striking a new girlfriend. In them, the victim's mother told police Yost drew a pentagram on the girlfriend's forehead and warned her he'd seen bodies hidden in barrels of acid or where pigs would devour the dead.
Eventually, in November 2013, Kyler Yost was sentenced to 45 months in prison on those trafficking charges. But even behind bars, the chilling confessions continued. According to one cellmate, Kyler admitted once again that he had killed Kara, a claim that added yet another layer of dread to an already disturbing history. In April 2016, Kyler walked free, released after serving the majority of his prison sentence. And then in September 8, 2016, another mother made a call to Belton police. Jessica Runions reported her 21-year-old daughter Jessica missing. Jessica had last been seen at a house party in South Kansas City, just a 10-minute drive from where Kara had vanished years earlier. And the man she was last seen with was all too familiar, Kyler Yost. Jessica worked as a pastry chef at a senior living community where she had recently been promoted to manager a role she was proud of. Baking came naturally to her, and the fact that she could do what she loved while earning extra money made it all the more rewarding. She dreamed of going to college to pursue a journalism degree, a goal that reflected both her ambition and curiosity about the world. She was punctual, reliable, and checked in with loved ones throughout the day. The last text Jessica sent her mother was tender and ordinary, sweet dreams. Jamie replied with a selfie of herself and Jessica's little sister. Jessica replied with a photo of herself cradling a cat, and then silence. So when she didn't come home after the party and her phone went straight to voicemail, alarm bells rang almost immediately, and within hours, police were called. Witnesses at the party provided police with a critical timeline. Jessica Runions was last seen leaving with Kyler Yost in her black 2012 Chevy Equinox. That detail gave investigators something tangible, a vehicle description and license plate to track. A BOLA was quickly issued, and by 2 a.m., Jessica's car was found engulfed in flames and burnt in a remote overpass in Jackson County. But Jessica herself was nowhere to be seen. The following day, she missed an important doctor's appointment, a follow-up after her appendix surgery. For her family, this was the final confirmation. Jessica wasn't a runaway. She loved her job, her friends, her family, and she had too much to live for. Then came the shocking twist. Kyler's stepbrother, Jessup Carter, contacted police. He admitted Kyler had called him in a panic, begging for help to destroy a car. Together, they set Jessica's car ablaze. Then Kyler confessed to strangling Jessica, dragging her into the woods, and then asking for help to cover his tracks. Jessup even told investigators that if they arrested Kyler immediately, they'd find burns on his hands and face from the fire. Then on September 11, 2016, police executed a search warrant at Jessup's home. Kyler was arrested for torching Jessica's car. His mugshot showed burns across his face, arms, and hands, along with scratches, but prosecutors said they lacked enough forensic evidence to charge him with murder.
Family and friends of the missing woman, Jessica Runions, still searching for more clues in the area where her car was found burned.
Well, we've seen several cars and trucks of people who are searching these woods for any clues in Jessica Runions' disappearance. But as of right now, police don't have any updates and they are not looking. The same area where Runions' burned car was found over the weekend. They refused to talk to us about their search, but said Kansas City police are not actively searching for the 21-year-old. Runions was last seen on Thursday leaving a party with 28-year-old Carol Yost. Police arrested Yost in Benton County on Sunday. He's suspected of burning Runions' car. Police also questioned Yost in the 2007 disappearance of Kara Kopetsky. We talked to a private investigator who worked the Kopetsky case and is following Runions' case very closely.
Over the years, Kyler has been in trouble time and time again. And he's been cut breaks by the justice system, or a judge or an attorney's, got the time lessened for him. He should be in prison.
Now back here live, you can clearly see that this is a dump site. A lot of items down here. In fact, at one point, searchers found a bag of women's clothing, and they thought that possibly it was connected to the disappearance, but police have said no.
It's been 5 weeks since the disappearance of Jessica Runions. Her family searching every week, while the last man to see her alive remains behind bars.
They're all volunteering to help Jamie Runions find her daughter, Jessica.
It's been 5 weeks since we've seen her face. It's been 5 weeks since we've seen her smile. It's been 5 weeks since she's played with her sisters.
But on April 3rd, 2017, everything changed, not only for Jessica Runions' family, but also for Kara's. A mushroom hunter stumbled upon human remains in Cass County, just 9 miles from Belton High School. The following day, another set of remains, a skull much older, was found nearby. On April 5th, the Kansas City medical examiner confirmed the first remains belonged to Jessica Runions. 4 months later, on August 16th, 2017, investigators confirmed what Kara's family had feared for over a decade. The older remains found in Cass County belonged to Kara Kopetsky. Kara and Jessica had finally been found. What had long been two separate mysteries was now officially recognized as a double murder investigation.
Law enforcement and family members confirming to 41 Action News the human remains found back in April are that of Kara Kopetsky.
She got her back. For the last 10 years, each morning, Kara Kopetsky's family hoped for this day, tonight, finally, a resolution.
The heaviness has been lifted, the lightness, there's a lightness in the air. And it's a glorious day. Kara's officially back home.
For years, the family held walks, made signs to keep the tips coming, and remind others Kara was still missing.
Don't ever give up. I mean, keep pushing on. Keep trying to keep your missing loved one in the public eye, because that's what's going to keep the tips and leads coming.
On October 5th, 2017, Kyler Yost, now 27 years old, was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of abandoning a corpse in the deaths of Kara and Jessica Runions. His bond was set at $1 million. The legal process dragged on. In June 2018, Kyler pled not guilty. His defense team filed delay after delay. Prosecutors leaned heavily on the testimony of his stepbrother, Jessup Carter, who had admitted helping burn Jessica's car.
We just want Kara and Jessica, we want those families to have some justice served. And if he's found to be guilty, we want them to be...
But in September 2018, Jessup was found dead in his cell, having taken his own life. He was behind bars, charged with a string of traffic violations and even the arson of a house. Then came the pandemic, pushing the trial back even further. Finally, in April 2021, families of both victims sat together in the courtroom, united in their pursuit of justice. For Kara's family, it was devastating to know it had taken another victim, Jessica, for their daughter's remains to be found.
Could you introduce yourself to the jury, please, Kyler?
I'm Kyler Yost.
On the stand, Kyler Yost tried to shift blame onto Jessup, claiming his deceased brother was responsible for both murders. With Jessup gone, the defense leaned on the idea that he couldn't defend himself.
Yost did acknowledge while he was on the stand that Kara Kopetsky and Jessica Runions were both last seen with him. However, he insisted he did not kill them, instead putting the blame on his half-brother, Jessup Carter. The prosecution grilled him about why he never once, over the course of 14 years, told police that bit of information, but Yost said he didn't want to get in trouble for violating Kopetsky's restraining order she had out against him. Yost also says he's not the one who torched Runion's car and that he had lit a fire in a burn barrel, and that's why he was burned. And that confession heard on the FBI wiretap, Yost said he was just saying he killed Kopetsky to fulfill his ex-girlfriend's fantasies.
You must be the most unlucky guy in the world. You know why?
Why's that?
You've had 2 girlfriends that have gone missing, and the last person they were seen with is you? That's pretty unlucky, isn't it?
I mean, I think that's extremely unlucky, but anyone who has a brother that's a serial killer, I would say, is very unlucky.
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting again, and the only thing, quite frankly, that you've gotten lucky with in this case is that Jessup isn't here to answer for that, right? So you want the jury to believe that the man that is dead is the one that's responsible for this, Kyler?
I think that's why he killed himself.
It's really convenient, isn't it, that he killed himself?
I don't think anything about the situation is convenient.
Well, it's convenient for you because you get to sit up here and say, my brother did it. And your brother's not here to speak for himself, right? And when you found out, actually, that Jessup had killed himself, your response was, I don't fucking care.
Yost's defense attorneys say he was burned while using a burn barrel that had aerosol cans inside that exploded. They plan to try to present an alibi defense.
There is literally no time during the day when he could have committed this crime.
In 2011, the FBI caught Yost confessing to how he killed Kara. Yost said, I strangled the out of her and threw her in the middle of the woods. Yost also said that his neck tattoo symbolizes his hands around Kara's throat.
Prosecutors say he also confessed to killing Jessica to his own mother.
The jury didn't buy first-degree murder. Instead, they convicted Kyler of voluntary manslaughter in Kara's case and second-degree murder in Jessica's. He was sentenced to 15 years for Kara and life for Jessica, capped at 30 years under Missouri law. His sentences run consecutively, totaling 45 years. He will be eligible for parole only after serving 85% of that time. In court, Kyler was combative, disrespectful, and insolent toward the judge. But for the families, the sentence itself wasn't the point. Their goal had always been to bring their daughters home.
Tonight, 2 families finally receiving the news they've waited for.
we're very thankful. Thankful for justice to come.
After a Cass County judge sentenced Kyler Yost to 15 years in prison, plus 30 years of life in prison for the deaths of Kara Kopetsky and Jessica Runions.
Been a long time. Emotional time.
Yost was found guilty in the deaths of Kopetsky and Runions in April. Inside the courtroom, prosecutors argued why Yost should serve the maximum sentence.
This man has never once taken responsibility for anything he did.
At one point in the sentencing, Yost and the judge went back and forth after Yost wouldn't answer his questions.
Have they done everything you asked them to do? Have you? Did they refuse?
Are you my post-conviction counsel?
Have you been able to talk to them about your case over the last, I think, 4 years?
What do you think?
Any comment on the sentencing?
No.
Why'd you ask for a new trial? Yost's defense team ignoring questions after the sentencing. Anything to say to the families? But for the families of Runions and Kopetsky, it was always about bringing the girls home after losing them too soon.
I know many of you, like me, can't help but wonder, was justice truly served? If the police had taken those confessions and pieces of evidence more seriously, perhaps Jessica would still be here today, alive, thriving, and living the life she so clearly deserved. For many, the verdict feels far too lenient for someone described as a predator. The families may have found their daughters, but the lingering fear remains. If Kyler Yost ever walks free, will he kill again? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective matters. Let's keep this conversation alive, not just for Kara and Jessica, but for all the missing people whose stories still need to be heard. Kara and Jessica's stories live on, not just in the headlines, not just in the courtroom, but in the hearts of those who love them. And tonight, as we close their chapter, we honor them by remembering they were daughters, sisters, friends. They were loved, and they will never be forgotten. Thank you for staying with me until the end, and until my next video, please stay safe and look after your loved ones.